Why does Daredevil bother trying to enter the church from the roof? Where's the access point? You only got this role because you were on The Sopranos cliché.
But they kept giving me
Don't curse.
Kid is comfortable enough to swear in front of his father and is immediately told not to curse cliché. Giant moon over the skyline effects brought to you by Bruce Almighty. Never trust a report card with a typo. Matt just happens to run into his dad shaking somebody down in an alley behind the place where he used to work. Is this Final Destination? How many barrels of biohazardous material does Matt have to navigate through to run away from his disappointing dad? Matt's eyes require a fortnight to travel their entire depth. Why did a biohazard chemical blind his eyes but improve his hearing by like 1,000%? Because if it was just that going blind boosts your other senses thing that did it, then why don't all blind people have like this visual radar hearing ability?
But most amazing of all, my sense of sound gave off a kind of radar sense.
Sense.
Hey, Murdoch! Round 2.
These bullies waited like 6 months in between beatings? Geez, did this referee just start counting at the number 10? Boxing is so rigged that a fighter that was supposed to take a dive wins dishonestly. There aren't thorns inside the actual rose flower, only on the stem. And you can clearly see that he doesn't grab any of the stem in his fist, so there shouldn't be any blood coming out.
I would keep my promise. I would help those that others wouldn't. I would seek justice.
I thought the promise was just that you would go to law school and never give up. Daredevil sleeps in water but doesn't wake up with wrinkly skin. Movie came out in the age of debit cards but has Murdoch using cash so we can get more reminders about how he's blind.
Just sat and enjoyed every minute of it.
Is there any more guilty sounding sentence for an accused rapist to say while on the witness stand? What does he do on the nights when the window washers don't leave their hanging on the building at perfectly spaced intervals for jumping? Like, does he ever jump off the building and go, oh, the window washers put away their stuff? Did the chemicals that blinded him also give him super jumping ability? He just jumped like 50 yards. Pointless PG-13 pseudo-nudity. A dozen guys with guns can't hit a blind guy in a shiny red suit. Bad guys shoot Daredevil while he jumps down, but then forget how guns work when he lands. Yet another hero surrounded by bad guys, but ganging up on him never occurs to anyone. You pretty much have to be Daredevil to follow any of this poorly lit and rapidly edited fight scene. Even Daredevil would have to admit that beating ass to Nickelback is pretty lame. Back to guns here, machine guns no less, but somehow even worse aim. Everyone ran out of bullets again. Back to punching. Quesada runs out of the bar, and for some reason Daredevil allows him to leave, apparently so that he can run all the way back up to the roof and jump all the way back down again. As Daredevil walks down the stairs, the countdown time on the clock goes from 1:55 to 1:37 in the next shot. Supposedly a train is coming into the station, but it never stops, and there's no express track going through this station. Then, oh so conveniently, yet another f***ing train comes through, not even a minute later, so that Daredevil can be temporarily driven insane by the noise, and it also doesn't stop. The MTA is a dick to New Yorkers.
Go to hell.
How f***ing long do you have to wait to pull the trigger after telling someone to go to hell? Daredevil's a straight-up murderer. Whatever his motives, he's no hero. He's part of the problem. Holy if he knew this was gasoline and he threw fire at it anyway, with a bunch of cops standing around, that's totally a crime. And also, how the f*** did he know that? Also, non-visionary comic book adaptation director rips off The Crow. Oh, come on! No amount of unexplained radar hearing will help him accomplish this bull. Tooth pulling. Horrible movie foreshadows an even worse movie to come later. I know Jennifer Garner is hot and all, but she gets this coffee in the time it took Matt to get up from the table and walk over to the couch. What is the point of this? Do we need proof right off the bat that Kingpin is a bad guy?
How's your daughter?
Okay, I take it back. Maybe that's a more guilty sounding sentence for an accused rapist to say while on the witness stand.
Her name's Electra Nachos. Well, she sounds like a Mexican appetizer.
Movie thinks it could absolve itself of a really stupid character name by making a joke about it, and a kind of racist joke at that. So anyone whose heart beats faster is lying, and anyone whose heart doesn't is telling the truth? What about a bad crazy person that thinks they're telling the truth? Or a person on drugs? Or just a really good liar? These people are going to call the cops now, right? Why was this dickhead cabbie speeding through this street anyway? The traffic is obviously slow moving right here, and he was going to have to put on his brakes anyway. Okay, thanks, sir. No need to check anything else, I guess. Enjoy your flight. I don't know why anyone bothers to lock anything in movies when they can be unlocked by anything straight and metal. I understand the cop was found to be lying, but when a murder case happens, isn't there a team of detectives that check out the victim's apartment later? Shouldn't there have been evidence that Matt could look over without having to break in?
When it rains, it's like there's a rooftop on the world. Just then, it's like I can see again.
You can already see with the radar hearing thing. I know this is a movie, but this is literally the second time they've met and about the 15th minute they've spent together.
Matt, what's wrong?
So wait, this fight started while Matt was kissing Electra? And then he leaves, supposedly goes to his apartment to put on the Daredevil costume, comes back, and this fight is still going on? And the Kingpin's henchman is still asking the same stupid questions? Discount older, fatter Eminem.
I'm not the bad guy, kid.
By my count, we're halfway through the movie, and you've committed murder, stalking, assault, breaking and entering, and evidence tampering. You are the one who knocks, bro. Throughout this scene, Favreau's tossing this ball back and forth to himself, and there are definitely no spare balls on the table right below this picture and near his coffee. But then after he shoots it, he suddenly has a couple spares sitting there so he can still have something stupid to do with his hands during the scene.
Nothing bad is gonna happen. Promise.
Nothing bad is gonna happen, I promise, cliche. So Bullseye was hired to kill Nachios, but how did he know that they would be in a limo going down the street at this very moment? And why would Kingpin hire a guy all the way from Ireland to do something almost any assassin could have done? When the limo wrecks into the New York Post truck, there are no papers at all on the left driver's side of the limo. But then in subsequent shots, there are papers everywhere. Evanescence.
I know how you feel.
You don't know how I feel.
I know how you feel, you don't know how I feel, cliche. Wow, what are the odds that Matt would take a cab with the exact same serial numbers as the one he passed walking in the street earlier in the movie? Every number and letter in a sequence can be rotated 180 degrees to be something completely different, cliche. Even in 2003, this looks like the fakest website ever created. Who's dropping these bags of sand? Are they on a timer of some sort? How much preparation does that take to set up? And why doesn't she do it outside so she doesn't make so much of a damn mess? Look, I know Daredevil has some acrobatic skills, but the laws of physics still apply, right? How can you jump up a building like this without building up any speed? Seriously? This was a surprise? Are these people in the Matrix?
NYPD Aviation.
Do helicopter cops actually have to identify that they're air cops as opposed to street cops before arresting someone? This is supposedly to get us back to where we left off in the beginning, but everything in the background has changed. There was a huge wall in the background, and the Empire State Building, and tons of other stuff. And how did he get to the top of the church again? There are no neighboring buildings where he could have jumped onto the church's roof. And if he merely climbed the church, why did he? He's just gonna go inside anyway. I understand Bullseye is amazing at throwing things and hitting the target, but I was unaware he was amazing at finding people in random locations. So wait, Daredevil can fly now? I mean, why does he even need grappling hooks and Movie unintentionally inspires Spider-Man 3. Okay, so we know Bullseye is deadly accurate throwing everything, so this is total bullshit that Daredevil backflips in a straight line and manages to evade every single projectile that Bullseye throws at him. Movie unintentionally inspires an entirely different part of Spider-Man 3. Like they're just gonna let a reporter drive his personal vehicle right up to the front door of the sealed-off building they're about to have the SWAT team enter.
Bullseye.
Villain just so happens to have an office with water running through it, so that when it springs a leak, Daredevil's raindrop eyesight kicks in.
I'm not the bad guy.
See, now that he's learned it's wrong to kill, he's ready to play Batman. In a movie universe where Superman rips people's heads off.
Matt.
Jeez, does Matt have a homing beacon on him or something?
Doing double overtime down at the docks.
Justice is served.
Hear that, Mr. Anderson? That is the sound of inevitability. It's the sound of your death. Goodbye, Mr. Anderson.